What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners for today's 14-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Osmo.com. Once again, we've got ourselves a big ol' slate for our Four Corners video today, so let's keep the power of positivity going. And right now, please like this video. If you want to win a free month of Osmo Plus, like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. Yesterday, we did have a couple people guessing the low-owned double dongs out there, so let's keep the momentum going. Right now, like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. But for now, let's get to our usual first corner. The top pitchers, and Sonny Gray going against Seattle should be the top owned option industry-wide. Gray gets 3.7 implied runs against him, which are slate low, and he'll be number 1 on DraftKings at 21% expected ownership, number 2 on FanDuel at 12%, and number 6 on Yahoo with 16%. Gray's been stellar with a 29% carry, a 1.1 whip, and just a 136 ISO allowed. So even with some lefty power in Seattle's lineup, their 25.7% K rate versus right-hand pitching gives Sonny Gray big upside. There's been a lot to like from Sonny Gray this year, so even with his price up, he's getting a park upgrade and a Seattle team who's going to offer him some strikeouts, so I like the spot a lot for Sonny Gray, and I imagine he'll at least be with the field on his ownership. Steven Strasburg at Minnesota should also find some ownership with the 4.6 implied runs against him. Strasburg will be number 1 owned on Yahoo with 31% and on FanDuel with 18%, while he'll be number 2 on DraftKings with 19%. Strasburg's 30% K rate and 3.2 xFIP look good in a power-limiting park on a not hot day, but Minnesota's 222 ISO versus right-hand pitching is scary and possibly worth leverage bat exposure. Strasburg has been really good on the year, but Minnesota has so much power that it's hard for me to fully trust Strasburg. I get why you'd go there, especially in a park that's not that hot, but Minnesota has so much power that it's terrifying to me to have much ownership of Strasburg today. And Dylan Peters versus Cleveland will also find some ownership as value with the 5 implied runs against him. Peters will be number 3 owned on DraftKings with 18%, but he'll be lesser owned everywhere else. Peters is cheap and projects decently as value, but he's allowed a 216 ISO going back to last year. He doesn't pitch deep into games, so this could be not ideal chalk if it holds up. I'm not a big Dylan Peters believer, especially as chalk, and I'll talk more about this situation a little bit later on in the video. Now into our next corner on the slate, the top stacks. At a St. Louis stack versus Antonio Senzatella should be popular once again. St. Louis gets 7.3 implied runs, which are a slate high, and though they ran into the Chichi Gonzalez buzzsaw yesterday, now they get Antonio Senzatella's 5.3 xFIP, but also a relatively low 180 ISO allowed. St. Louis projects well as the top-owned stack of the day, but much like with Chichi yesterday, Senzatella's ability to keep the ball down with a 23.2% fly ball rate and a 6.1% barrel ball rate could cause issues again for the full stack. I wouldn't come under the field on St. Louis given the potential they have to blow up today at Coors, but the spot seems like a similar one to yesterday where there could be some power limited that keeps that full stack from getting there today. And on the other side, a Colorado stack versus Dakota Hudson should also find some ownership with a 6.2 implied runs for them. Colorado was also mostly impotent in yesterday's Coors spot, while Hudson is a better pitcher than Michael Wacha with only a 4.5 xFIP and 140 ISO allowed. Coors will still offer a gigantic hitting benefit worth exposure, and Hudson is worse versus left-handed batters with a 5.6 xFIP and 1.7 whip, so Colorado's projected lefty-heavy lineup could benefit. I personally think this could be more of a bounce-back spot for Colorado than St. Louis, but both teams are at Coors, so with that high exposure for them, it does make sense to not go with a complete fade even if you don't believe in their potential today. And a Tampa Bay stack versus Ariel Jurado should also find some ownership with 5.7 implied runs for them. It's another hot day in Texas versus Jurado, who allows a 198 ISO and a 10.4% barrel ball rate. Left-handed batters are better versus Jurado with a 5.2 xFIP and a 200 ISO allowed, so Tampa Bay's lineup looks solid for a variety of stacks and one-offs. With scorching hot temperatures in Texas and Jurado perhaps being a bit lucky on the year with not giving up a ton of full stack production, this seems like a nice spot for a very competent hitting Tampa Bay team. And now onto our next corner, the lower owned options on the slate, and the Cleveland stack versus Dylan Peters looks good to me. Cleveland gets 5 implied runs, and Peters has been hit hard by right-handed batters with a 241 ISO and a 5.4 xFIP, so another righty-heavy lineup for Cleveland could put up runs once again. Cleveland's projected lineup has a 188 ISO and 115 WRC plus versus left-hand pitching with decent prices, despite 6 hitters over a 195 ISO. Cleveland had some success yesterday and a very similar pitcher in Jose Suarez. I like the spot for them once again in an Anaheim park that's been allowing a lot of power on the year. And Robbie Ray at the Mets looks like a good expensive lower owned option with the 4.4 implied runs against him. Ray is mostly overpriced industry-wide, but he has a 31% K rate and a 3.7 xFIP on the year. Ray has struggled some with power with a 182 ISO allowed, so guys who could smash left-handed pitching like Pete Alonso and Wilson Ramos are a risk, but on sites where Ray is lower owned, he has definite upside. Ray's been better than people realize on the year, so even though the Mets have some dangerous power going against him, on sites where he's lower owned, I think it's a good spot to go to Robbie Ray today. And an Oakland stack versus Jose Urquidy looks interesting with the 4.5 implied runs for them. Oakland went wild yesterday, but is in an arguably better spot versus the 200 ISO and 12.5% barrel ball rate that Jose Urquidy allows. With low ownership expected again, Oakland is likely worth some exposure with high top power bats and a projected lineup that has a 202 ISO versus right-hand pitching. With the addition of some younger bats like Seth Brown, Oakland's been really hitting well. The spot looks like another interesting one to go to them, even though they did just blow up yesterday. And Zach Davies at Miami looks a bit interesting with a 3.7 implied runs against him. Davies' 15.2% K rate isn't good, but a reasonable price and over 5 innings pitched per start is a decent spot for him at Miami. Miami's 126 ISO and 75 WRC plus with a 25.3% K rate look good for Davies, with less ownership than Chase Anderson had yesterday in his mediocre effort. I like the price on Davies and the fact that he does pitch a bit deeper in the games than Chase Anderson. I think people may be afraid to go to Davies today because of Anderson failing yesterday. And now into our last corner of the one-offs, and Freddie Freeman versus Zach Eflin jumps out to me. Eflin allows a 234 ISO and a 5.3 xFIP to left-handed batters, while Freeman brings a 239 ISO with a 147 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching on what looks like a warm Philly day. Eflin struggles versus lefties, and Freeman is about as good of a lefty hitter as you'll find in Major League Baseball. It's a winning combination for him as a one-off or as part of an Atlanta stack. And Austin Meadows versus Ariel Hirado looks like another quality lefty one-off. Meadows has a 230 ISO and a 138 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching, with Hirado striking out just 12% of left-handed batters while giving up a 200 ISO. The whole Tampa Bay stack looks good, but with Hirado limiting that full stack production, a guy like Meadows, who's one of the better hitters in that lineup, could be in a strong spot today at Texas. And Sam Hilliard versus Dakota Hudson interests me as a one-off. Hilliard is cheap for a game at Coors with a 286 ISO and a limited sample size versus right-hand pitching, while Hudson allows a 175 ISO and a 5.6 xFIP to left-handed batters. Hudson gets a big park downgrade, and Hilliard's cheap with some power shown in his limited Major League sample size. I think it's a good spot to go to him today as a one-off. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on today's slate. So right now, please like this video, and if you want to win a free month of Osmo Plus, like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. Yesterday, we had a couple correct double dong calls in the comments with Jason Hayward and this guy right here, George Springer from Sofinith Mies, whose name I almost certainly didn't pronounce correctly, but Sofinith, you are the winner of the free month of Osmo Plus, so please email me at chris@osmo.com to collect your prize. For everybody else, if you want to get in on the free month giveaways right now, do it while you can. Like this video and comment your double dong pick down below. But if you don't want to wait for the free month, you can also use this promo code Switch and Hedge for half off your first month of Osmo Plus. We've got 2 sports going right now with NFL and MLB, so if you get an all-access pass, get all that data at your fingertips. So right now, use that promo code Switch and Hedge. And of course, go to osmo.com/join because we have new weekly passes at just $3.95 a week that'll help give you some more data to help out if you're just a regular casual player. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. I'm doing a ton of NFL and MLB content right now, including the NFL strategy show this morning with Lofty, where we had a lot of spicy takes, but a lot of ones that could help pay off in week 2. So go check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. I'll be back on Live Before Lock later today, so subscribe and hit that notification bell to know when we go live. And of course, I'll be back again soon, actually on Friday, with another Four Corners video. So thank you guys for watching, and good luck.